Good morning, class, and welcome to week 3 of Psychology 255. I just wanted to kind of go over some of the weekly objectives and main concerns as I grade through some of these assignments over, especially after week 1, and I'll be beginning week 2 this week. Want to make sure students are aware of the policies. A lot of times when we get into these 200 level classes, students are in go mode, and sometimes they're quoting too much or just completing things halfway without watching the tutorials. Um, in a Psych 255 class, the expectations and the bar is raised. You're not in 100 level classes anymore, so students are going to be held to plagiarism policy if you're over quoting, all that kind of stuff, not citing. Make sure the best policy from here on out, don't ever quote. Stay away from quoting. You will lose points because a lot of students, when they decide to quote, typically over quotes. Okay, so make sure you're not doing that. Um, I do have a tutorial for the PowerPoint slide that's due this Sunday, the PowerPoint presentation, multiple slides due on this PowerPoint, but with directions. Please watch it carefully because students will lose points on this one easily by quoting, using paragraphs when you're not supposed to use paragraphs. Watch the tutorials carefully. Make the assignments easier on you as you go through this class by watching the tutorials and following the directions, okay? Um, as you can tell, I'm raising a concern because I'm already starting to see some things. Now, if you look at your grade book and you're good to go, continue to watch the tutorials. If not, then my advice, my strong requirement would be to watch the tutorials and ask questions. Um, be sure you're watching these tutorials by no later than Wednesday. I'm posting the one for Sunday, that's due Sunday, tomorrow on Tuesday. Watch and read my daily announcement posts for your benefit, okay? Um, This week, we're going to be going over what's called the trait approach. So you're going to kind of go over kind of like how the birth order plays into the effect of people's personalities. If it's true, what kind of research is out there on it, which is kind of really interesting information. This is actually really interesting because you can sit back and kind of watch your own family unfold, or sometimes it's better to kind of watch your friend's family since it's an outsider's point of view instead of having biases about you and your own family. But you can actually look at that and see what kind of traits your family has with the birth order. It's kind of interesting. In the study material, it says it's just chapter 7 and 8 this week in the book. There's the article to use called The Birth Order and Evolutionary Psychology, a analytic overview by Soloway. Okay. Um, in the topic 3 reading resource, there's information in there on information there from the trait approach, Gordon Allport, Henry Murray, the factor analytical researchers. There's a lot of information on there. Matter of fact, there's also a miniature discussion on criticism and strengths of the trait theories. So, why would a psychology class go over criticisms of a theory? Because they're called theory. Um, there's nothing really exact. If there's 4 in a family or there's 3 in a family, let's say there's 3 in a family, and then there's these theories on middle children syndrome, or not syndrome, excuse me, middle children behavior. Um, and oh, well, you got to be a middle child. That doesn't always hold up. Okay. Um, in psychology, there's so many variables that it can determine behavior and personality that, I mean, it's hard to predict. Us as humans, we want to simplify things. We want things to be simple. So we place label on things. We actually want to generalize so that we have an understanding when it's a lot more complicated than that. And it's a lot more simpler than that in the sense that there's so many variables that can predict behavior. Okay. So it just depends. And as you saw in previous weeks with personality tests and stuff, It could be upbringing, it could be your friends, the society you're involved with, it could be anything. Genetics, it could be a multiple area of those things that determine personality. So make sure you're reading this stuff. It's really interesting. This class totally relates to personal life. So good luck, everybody. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope you all have a good week.